Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to finish some unfinished business from the last patch, and this is why I want to share my first impressions, to be more precise, the second impressions on the J35D Draken, or Draken, however you want to pronounce it. And this is the top end of the line Swedish fighter jet at battle rating 10.3 and rank 6. And, well, there is quite a bit to talk about. Now, first about the unfinished part. I wanted to play this plane that I got from Gaijin, thanks for that, and I just wanted to make a video about it. But after just a handful of battles, I thought to myself, nope, not gonna happen this patch, because I felt completely obsolete, and I kind of felt like it's on me, despite the plane having some some specialties in its handling, and you always can polish your playstyle and to respond better to the feedback from the plane upon your control inputs, etc, etc. What all this means is that the plane felt wrong, the plane felt strange. I saw its capabilities, but I just couldn't make them work, especially the guns. But there is nothing wrong with the guns, and so I thought to myself, what's going on? And on top of this, the missiles were bad, and also the final nail in the coffin for me playing it in the last patch was the repair cost of 35,000 civilians. All this combined just made me nope out of this experience. Sorry about this, and there was so much other stuff to talk about, to review, to make first impressions on, or just general gameplay and grinding, that I left it till this patch. And Gaijin kind of double buffed it in a way. Now, first of all, the plane got the repair cost reduced from 35,000 civiline down to a mere 10,000, which is significantly better to accept. And on that note, we also got better missiles. So let's now try to figure out what this plane is. But before, I have to say I absolutely love the look and the skin and the 3D model of this plane. That is absolutely gorgeous, and it is kind of a unique plane in that aspect, and for that you just gotta love it. But also, as you can see with the handling, I still cheaped out, and that might be a little bit of a mistake with the plane, that I didn't go into the expert qualification, because I wanted to cheap out on that more than 1 million Silverline qualification that, for me personally, I thought, I never would play it too much anyway, so not worth it. If you really want to master it, I highly recommend it, because your pilot really needs that extra G stamina. In fact, you have to play it so much, or invest also the golden eagles, to then get the ace qualification, because trust me, this plane is quite a turner and quite a burner. It is a little bit fun, I gotta admit, but at the same time you die often, and well, let's just try to go through the statistics. So first of all, it is quite good at accelerating, it's quite good at climbing. In that aspect, it has a good energy retention. The maximum speed is rated at 2150 kilometers per hour at sea level, and max altitude is 12,500 meters. The next thing is that this plane has then great maneuverability, and there's also the famous Cobra Maneuver possible if you set it up. I'm not gonna show this, because that actually makes the real problem that I have with the plane even worse. Let's talk about the armament. We have two 30mm Aken M55 cannons with 180 rounds between them, and they are decent, but to get them on target, that's really a problem. The belts are really powerful. The stock belt and the stealth belt are very similar. I use the air target belt because most of the time I'm not cracking open pillboxes. That also leads me to the secondary weapons, aka the payload, and you have a very good loadout of rockets, no bombs though, so rockets and missiles like you want them. I use the 4 RB-24J missiles, air-to-air missiles, and they were quite an improvement on the normal RB-24. In fact, you can shoot them at longer distance, they are faster, and they can pull more Gs at maximum overload. That is the main difference to the RB-24s. In fact, you can lock at 5.5 kilometers, you can launch at 18 kilometers, you have a maximum speed of 2.5 Mach instead of 1.7, and the maximum overload is 20G instead of 10G. So you can already see that those missiles are significantly better suited in tracking and keeping enemy planes tracked. Now let's come to the selling point of the plane itself, and that is its turn rate. And its turn rate is both a blessing but also its biggest curse. And the problem is there are very powerful planes at top tier. You're playing with the big dogs, the Starfighters, the Phantoms, the MiG-21s, etc., and also the Mirage. And those are all fantastic planes that have one thing in common. They're all very powerful and very fast. And so you are, if you want to translate this to prop terms, please don't kill me for this, but you're in a boom and zoom meta, and you're a turn fighter. In essence, you are like a Spitfire Mark 9 versus Focke-Wulf 190 Doras. You can keep up to a certain degree with them, but you get trapped in your turning, and while you have the definite advantage in turning, you then have the disadvantage in speed. That was a very funny missile launch. Watch this. By the way, that is the most successful battle in its entirety now from this kill onwards to the end. However, this turning just bleeds all the speed. Like you would engage the flaps and also the air brakes on a normal jet, and even then some jets would love to have this capability of reducing the speed. So this turning leaves this plane in an awkward state because it only also recovers speed on a reasonable manner when it actually goes in a straight line. No turning whatsoever. And I'm not talking here about full turns either. Obviously full turns break even more than they do right now with slide turns, but even slide turns, they just interrupt your speed dramatically. And the slower your speed gets, the more dramatic this effect is. So at higher speeds, it almost feels like a quote-unquote normal top-tier jet. And that is a bit awkward because you kind of have a little bit of a compression, but at the same time, when you then go below 600 kilometers per hour, you turn really great for a short moment, and you can see it's absolutely no problem pulling 10, 11, 12, 13 Gs. But if you then include also some rolls, you can see that the plane is both really snappy in its turning, but at the same time also really wobbly. And to really bring those things together, to really make the plane work and let it fly like you want it, basically to really control it, that is very, very tricky with this plane. It's fun, but you're gonna die quite a lot. And that is one of those things that you really have to keep in mind. So again, does the plane keep up with some other planes in a straight line? Yes. Does it climb very nicely? Yes. Does it turn? Absolutely. But this turning, you cannot actually keep it up for that long, and you also bleed those insane amounts of speed. And before you foresee it in a scissor fight, you're behind the enemy. But to then actually get the guns and even the missiles on target and launch them successfully, that is surprisingly difficult. I think in other aspects, Phantom might be just a bit more reliable and significantly better with the energy retention. So the energy retention while turning is really, really bad. So in that aspect, the jet is really unique. But MiG-21s, Phantoms, and now the Starfighters, they have those excessive amounts of energy. And once you lose the speed, you're constantly evading. So how do you play this thing? Well, at first, don't be the first to go into the fight, and then join the furball from the top. You can launch the missiles, you try to deal with enemies that are behind your enemies and try to concentrate on getting off their missiles. So you have to really imply a lot of situation awareness, a lot of quick reaction, and that is not always easy. And in fact, I think some other chats are better in that handling aspect. But that doesn't mean that the plane is really helpless. I think this is one of those cases where the plane is easy to begin to play, but to really master it is significantly more difficult than with some other planes. Now, in the factors of being unique and the factors being outstandingly maneuverable, yes, it got it. But is it really worth it? I have my doubts. But again, please keep in mind, this is my first impressions. I haven't played hundreds of battles in this plane, and maybe Gaijin will change some things like they do quite often with, vehicles that are 1 or 2 patches old. And you know what? Let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. So for 4 kills on a win on a premium account with a tech tree plane, we got nearly 60,000 civilians and 9,400 RP. That's quite a nice result, if I might say so myself. Not a most outstanding 10 kill game, but it is what it is. And on that bombshell, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if it did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the waves, on the battlefields, and in the skies of War Thunder.